Good evening. I call to order the Lake Havasu City Council regular meeting on Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. Public participation in this meeting as members of the public can attend here in person, which we have many folks here this evening. Thank you for being here. Or you can view the meeting live on Channel 4 or go to lhcaz.gov/TV. We are accepting public comments 1 hour prior to the meeting. So if anyone would like to have something read into the record at call to the public or on one of our public hearings, they can email information 1 hour prior to our meetings at cityclerk@lhcaz.gov. We'll now have our invocation from Pastor Kay Zimmerman from City on a Hill International Church. Good evening, Pastor.
Thank you. Good evening. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for this beautiful city. We thank you for those that are in place to lead it, Father God. We thank you for the awesome work that they're doing. We thank you for those who protect it, Father God, our policemen and our firemen, Father God. We pray blessing on all of them. And Father, over our city, we just pray peace. And we just pray off this fear that has been released in our nation. We pray it off of our city. And we just ask you, God, to just be God over this city. Be Lord over this city. Accomplish your plans and your purposes, Father God. Release your creativity and wisdom into the leaders. And we just thank you in advance, Lord, for what you're doing here, what you're going to continue to do. And I'm just going to read this decree that God, you gave us in 2007 for our city. I decree over the city of Lake Havasu City that this city shall be a city of righteousness that honors God in all her ways, a city of hope to all her people and all those who come here, a city of light where darkness finds no room to hide, a city of love that prospers in all her ways, providing prosperity and goodwill to all her people, as well as those surrounding her, and a city of peace to all who dwell here. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you. And we'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Western Welcome Club of Arizona. Willie, good evening.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move this down.
Thank you.
I'm vertically challenged.
Well, thank you, Willie, for being here. If you want to share a few words about the Western Welcome Club.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. And I'm kind of loud. I'm used to a more quiet microphone that we have down at the Aquatic Center. I thank you for inviting me tonight to talk a little bit about our organization. I am the president of the Western Welcome Club of Arizona. And for those of you who don't know us, we are a women's philanthropic organization here in town. And we have been in existence since 1972 when 8 ladies were sitting around a dining room table having coffee and decided that their goal was to help with the community, figure out ways to make it better and to help those who were in need. That was 49 years ago. Next year is our 50th anniversary. And at this time, our membership is 160 plus ladies. So we have grown a lot since then. We do fundraisers throughout the community. I'm sure some of you have seen our Bunko advertisements for in March and in October. And then we have our main fundraiser, which is our boutique in November. And it's always the Friday night and Saturday morning, sort of past lunch a little, at the Aquatic Center, where we have a huge holiday boutique. Unfortunately, during 2020, everything got canceled. We were not able to have our bunkos or some of our other fundraisers, and we barely squeezed in our boutique at the end of last year. And the only reason that we were allowed to do it is because I promised that I would follow the CDC regulations for the event, which we were able to do. We had walkie-talkies from one end of the building to the other, and we only allowed so many people in. I had a retired prison guard as my greeter, and she made sure that everybody sanitized their hands, wore masks, and we only had 2 people that came, one on Friday night and one on Saturday, that were kind of, oh, we're not going to do this. And the rest of the time, everyone was perfectly happy, even the young people who came in. So we were very thankful for that. We have a contributions committee in our club, and they receive letters from different organizations throughout the year that ask for donations. And because we are a nonprofit organization ourselves, all of our funds are done through fundraisers. So we check into it, make sure that it's an organization that is qualified, that they pass the 401 requirements, and then we decide whether or not through our membership that we want to give to them. And even though last year was a tough year for us, I just like to give you a little rundown of the organizations that we were able to donate to. It was the Veterans Treatment Center, Lake Havasu Canine Unit, Mojave Search and Rescue, Vincent DePaul Thanksgiving Boxes, Lake Havasu Park and Rec Teen Break, Haven Resource Center Food for Kids Program, Faith and Grace, Salvation Army Forgotten Seniors, Lake Havasu Food Bank, Our Lady Soup Kitchen, Senior Center Meals on Wheels, and Grace Arts Children's Program. We were able to give donations last year of $13,500. So this year, we did have to cancel our bunco, which was in March. But so far, we are scheduled for our bunco party October 11th and our holiday boutique November 19th and 20th. And there'll be more coming out. You'll see us in the newspaper and things like that. So if you know any organization that needs help that is nonprofit, they are more than welcome to submit a letter to us. And we'll be happy to review it and see if there's funds for it and whether we're qualified. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the great work that you and your organization do.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the roll call. Ms. Williams, if you'd please call the roll.
Council members Nancy Campbell,
Here.
Jim Dolan, David Lane,
Here.
Michelle Lynn,
Here.
Cameron Moses,
Here.
Vice Mayor Jenny Koch,
Here.
Mayor Cal Sheehy.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Dolan is actually on an airplane right now, so he is unable to even attend remotely, but be heading back from a trip to see his family. All right, the next item is a call to the public. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city within the jurisdiction of Lake Havasu City. If you are here for an item that's on one of the public hearings, we recommend you wait until that time because we can have a two-way conversation. During the call to the public, we can only have a one-way conversation. We'll listen intently to whatever your thoughts, ideas, or suggestions are, and then table it for future discussion. The comments are limited to 3 minutes. We have a light indicator box next to Ms. Williams. Green means you have 3 minutes. Yellow means you have 1 minute remaining, and red means that the 3 minutes is up. You do not have to sign up to speak a call to the public. So if you'd like to address the city council during call to the public, please make your way to the podium and just state your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the in-person public hearing, but we did receive one written comment prior to the meeting. Ms. Williams, if you could please read that into the record.
This comment was received on Monday, June 14th with a subject line of topic for city council meeting 6/22 at 6 p.m. Topic: residential speeding and traffic. Location: Southwind Avenue, south end between Acoma South and Thunderbolt Avenue. We purchased our lovely home in LHC in May of 2016. The issue is traffic. It seems in all the years I've been here, I've seen minimal patrol of LHC Police Department, rare to have seen in the residential streets. My street is Southwind Avenue, should be renamed to Southwind Highway. You see this street, turns out it is a common thoroughway for this town. The speed limit sign states 25, yet nobody honors this limit. I would like the following added to our street. Stop signs, enough to make the speeding stop, and or speed bumps, the same speed bumps I must slow down for in the Walmart parking lot. LHC patrol in residential areas. The fact that LHC is not a big town is not asking a lot. I have timed the amount of cars one day sitting in my backyard. I counted 20 cars in 1 minute. I have only seen in the 5 years I've been on the street one speed meter machine on my street. So I am pretty sure this is not your first complaint request. but nothing has come out of that speed meter. I want to stay in my home. I love my neighbors and my house fits. It's just this street doesn't. I'm hoping adding street signs, speed bumps, and some actual police patrol in the residential areas might help with the traffic and noise that comes with it. Submitted by Valerie Standeval.
Thank you. We'll now go ahead and close the public hearing or the call to the public. Moving on to item 6, the consent agenda. Do any of the council members want to remove any of the items for separate discussion?
Mayor,
Vice Mayor Koch?
motion.
Yes.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. We have a motion from Vice Mayor Koch and a second from Councilmember Lane. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 7 is correspondence, communications, petitions, announcements, and the city manager report. Item 7.1 is announced vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, there are several vacancies on Lake Havasu City's board, committees, and commissions. The following is a listing of those current and upcoming vacancies. Airport Advisory Board, 1 regular pilot member, 1 regular non-pilot member, and 1 alternate pilot member. Board of Adjustment, 3 regular members, 3 alternate members. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, 3 regular members, 1 student member. Planning and Zoning Commission, 3 regular members. And the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System, 1 regular member. Applications are available at City Hall, and they are also available on the city's website at www.lhcaz.gov.
Thank you. Item 7.2 is the city manager's report. Mr. Knutson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We had some work in the council chambers with the microphones, so much louder this evening. I'd like to start with recognizing what occurred just a couple days ago. Mayor Sheehy, you and Councilmembers David Lane and Nancy Campbell, along with your granddaughter, Councilmember Campbell, her name is Cameron, celebrated Flag Day at the Elks Lodge. The local Elks Lodge throughout the United States, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Panama Canal celebrated Flag Day on June 14th. The Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks is the only fraternal organization to require a formal observance of Flag Day. June 14th was officially established as Flag Day by a proclamation by President Woodrow Wilson in 1916. However, it was not a national observance until 1949 when President Harry Truman, himself an Elk member, was inspired to sign an act of Congress that dedicated June 14th to the symbol of our country. Sadly, due to the holiday next month, there will be no coffee with the mayor and the city manager, but we will be resuming our normal schedule on Friday, August 6th. It'll be at 8:30 a.m. and it'll be right here in the city council chambers and our police department building. We'd like to wish everyone a safe and happy 4th of July holiday. It's coming up quickly. As always, please enjoy the holiday festivities, but do it responsibly and do not drink and drive, and arrange for a designated driver. During this time, the police officers provide enhanced traffic and DUI enforcement from a grant awarded by the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety. We encourage everyone to enjoy the public fireworks display that'll be held on Sunday, July 4th over beautiful Lake Havasu. Fireworks are shot off from the island. For those that choose to celebrate at home, we ask that you understand the risks of handling fireworks and know how to prevent serious injury. Please visit our website, lhcaz.gov/fireworks, to review all the rules and regulations that are in place. For example, novelty fireworks such as sparklers and ground-based devices that only emit showers, flames, or sparks are permissible, but aerial devices and explosive firecrackers which leave the ground are always prohibited at all times. Our city offices will be closed in observance of the 4th of July and our Independence Day on Monday, July 5th. The normal schedule will resume on Tuesday, July 6th. The Aquatic Center will be open. Please visit our website for a schedule of exercise times and for open swim. And as always, our police and fire department services are unaffected. And looks like our trash recycling schedules will not be interrupted for this holiday. And finally, the information provided here comes from Mojave County Public Health Department, shows that there are 89 new cases from my last report. And you can see the breakdown month by month in the graphic shown. Currently, there are 79 active cases of COVID in Lake Havasu City. We are seeing a bit of a increase. since the last month. So we encourage our residents to be smart, be diligent, and to support one another. Mayor and Council, that concludes my report.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 8, and that's our public hearings. So item 8.1 through 8.5 is appointments to a variety of boards, committees, and commissions that Ms. Williams is going to go through. And we'll have the folks that are here make a presentation to council. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you're looking to accomplish on that board, committee, or commission. And that'll take up the next 5 items. So it'll be a lengthy process during that. But thank you so much for all the folks that have applied for these boards, committees, and commissions. So we'll start with item 8.1, which is adopt resolution number 21-3510, appointing members to the Lake Havasu City Airport Advisory Board. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, the city received 8 applications requesting consideration for appointment to the Airport Advisory Board. These appointments are necessary to fill the upcoming vacancies of 1 regular pilot member, 1 regular non-pilot member, and 1 alternate pilot member. The applications were provided to you in the packet and were received from Tim Giles, Larry Rosser, Danny Katska, Chris Hirsch, Kaylin Hirsch, Michael Barton, Louis Worthy, and Michael Blackwell.
Excellent, thank you. All right, Mr. Giles, if you would like to, welcome. If you'd like to come to the microphone and just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be on the Airport Advisory Board.
Sure. My name is Tim Giles. I've been in Lake Havasu for almost 20 years. I pastor a church here called Inspire the Church. I've been involved in a lot of different community building jobs and whatnot. So my goal and what my hope is to be further involved in a deeper level with Lake Havasu City and building the community, and then also share my wife's passion of flying. My goal, I guess, is to kind of bridge the gap between pilots, non-pilots, and to work with the city council on everything we can do to make our airport the best it can be for our citizens.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any questions of any members of the council? All right, thank you, Mr. Giles.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yes. Mr. Rosser?
Yes, I'm Larry Rosser. I spent 27 years at Los Angeles Air Route Traffic Control Center as an air traffic controller. Spent a year at Coast Approach before I went to SoCal. And I just want to have some input or in the future of the airport here.
Excellent. Are there any questions of any members of the council? All right, thank you, Mr. Rosser. Thank you for being here. Mr. Katska?
Yes, I'm Danny Kaska. I was with the airline business for 25 years. My job with the airlines was senior administration VP, and I was in charge of all the airport operations, the Department of Transportation, handled all the issues with slots and that sort of thing with our company. And we were a pretty large airline. We had 85 cities and about 75 jets operating around the country. So we were pretty busy, and I was very much involved with the growth. And so what the growth of when an airline or when an airport operates really well, what it can do for the community. I have seen many communities grow and prosper once the airport was really operating to its optimum capacity.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Hirsch? I don't know if I said that correctly, but okay, perfect. Good evening, welcome.
How you doing? I'm a little newer than most people up here so far, but I do fly a lot. I'm at the airport a lot. I run Normal Power Systems. If some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't. And I'd like to see the airport grow myself. I'd like to see a little safer airport, maybe having a tower there, maybe some paved taxiways, and some more hangars available for people here.
Excellent. Are there any questions of any members of the council? All right, thank you. Thank you for being here. And then Miss Hirsch?
Yeah, my name's Kaylin Hirsch. I've been a pilot for 5 years, and I just want to be more involved at the airport and know what's going on.
And you're applying as a pilot?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Are there any members of, or any questions from members of the council? All right, thank you. And then Michael Barton is also an applicant. We have all of the applications in front of us, but he was unable to make it this evening. Lewis Worthy is also another applicant and a current advisory member in a non-pilot position. He was unable to make it. He's out of town. And then Michael Blackwell applied, and his application's in our packet as well. And he is out of town, but he did include an explanation of why he was unable to make it this evening in the packet as well. All right, so we have, we're looking to, sorry for this, we're having to go back and forth with lots of different papers. We have tons of applicants and we really appreciate everybody applying, but we have one regular pilot member, one alternate pilot member, and then one non-pilot member is what we need to appoint this evening. Are there any initial comments or questions of the council before we open the public hearing? Councilmember Lane? No? Councilmember Lane?
I just have a quick question. I don't know if we're even allowed to ask this, but the two pilot members, are they related? And would that be a conflict of interest if they were both on there?
That is a question, and I believe that Mr. Hurst and Ms. Hurst, you are related? Yes.
Is that a conflict? No.
Ms. Gary?
It wouldn't be a conflict of interest as far as a legal conflict of interest. They don't have necessarily any type of monetary or proprietary right that they'll be deciding on there. So it wouldn't necessarily be a conflict of interest.
Thank you. Any other questions of any members of the council? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we did not receive any written comment on this item. Bring it back to council for discussion, questions, or possible motions.
Mayor,
Yeah, Vice Mayor Koch?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I move to adopt resolution number 21-3510, appointing Michael Barton as a regular pilot member, Lewis Worthy as a regular non-pilot member, and Kaylin Hirsch as a alternate pilot member to the Lake Havasu City Airport Advisory Board with terms ending June 30th, 2024.
I'll second that. And I'd like to, if I may, just say thank you to everybody that applied. And if you didn't get picked or chosen at this particular time, please still attend the meetings and be involved in what happens out at the airport. Thank you.
thank you. We have a motion from Vice Mayor Koch and a second from Councilmember Lane. Any further questions, comments from members of the council? All right. Yes, Councilmember Lane?
If the motion is for, can you give me the names again?
The way I understand it was appointing Michael Barton as a regular pilot member, Lewis Worthy as a regular non-pilot member, and Kaylin Hurst as an alternate pilot member.
Okay, thank you.
That's how I understood it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. And thank you again to all the applicants, and congratulations to the three of you. We look forward to working with you. Ms. Williams will keep applications on file for future vacancies and reach out when those may occur. All right, moving on to the next item. Item 8.2 is adopt resolution number 21-3511, appointing members to the Lake Havasu City Board of Adjustment. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, the city received 2 applications requesting consideration for appointment to the Board of Adjustment. These appointments are necessary to fill 3 regular members and 3 alternate member positions. The applications were provided to you in your packet, and they were received from Martin Toomey and Kevin Casey.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Toomey, Are you with us this evening? All right. And how about Mr. Casey? Yes, if you'd please make your way to the microphone and just let us know what you actually applied for two positions. So you might want to clarify that as well. So just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you hope to accomplish.
Yeah, Kevin Casey. I've been coming here since Havasu since 1977. Watched this beautiful city grow over the years. Bought my first house in 2002 up here. In 87, I became a contractor in San Diego. I am licensed as an engineering, building, small structures, fencing. I have all my licenses, and I still have my current license in those. I still am working for another contractor, and this is another long story why I'm working for somebody now. I should be retired, but I just like to help out with the community. I think the adjustments would be a good place for me. I was also a playground inspector for several years when I had my company in San Diego doing San Diego City Schools. I built a lot of structures in the city of Carlsbad, most of Southern California, some military bases. So I applied for both those positions, but I would prefer to be on the adjustments. I see that there's a need for somebody, I think, with my qualifications to be onto the adjustments committee.
Excellent. Thank you. Do any members of the council, Mr. Casey, Councilmember Moses does have a question for you.
You're working now. Are you employed for a contractor here in town?
No.
You're employed with an out-of-town contractor?
In Alpine, California.
In Alpine, California. Okay.
But I'm a full-time resident here.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And we love your place.
That's on record, right?
Yeah, I think I heard it loud and clear.
Good.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Any other questions for Mr. Casey? All right. Any comments from the council before we open the public hearing? All right. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we did not receive any written comments in advance on this item. Bring it back to council for discussion, questions, or possible motion.
I have a question if I may.
Yeah, Councilmember Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this is for Kelly. I noticed we have two positions that are available with terms ending on June 30th of 2023 and one ending in 2024 and then an alternate in 2022. So for those four positions, we have the two applicants?
Correct. Yes, we left, and the motion is just in case we received further applications so we could fill in those positions. But those, we currently have 3 regulars and 3 alternate member positions available.
Okay. Thank you.
I had an additional question.
Yeah, Councilmember Moses.
For the other Kelly. So we have two applicants going for the Board of Adjustments. I think I've also seen both their names on the Planning and Zoning Commissions. Can they serve on both, or is that going to preclude them from the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Councilmember Moses, they can serve on both. They're totally two separate functions. We usually don't have two people serving on the same boards, but because we have such limited number of people that apply for the Board of Adjustment, that may be necessary. But there's no issue with them serving on both.
Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion or questions?
I'll make a motion if you'd like.
Yeah, Councilmember Lane, please.
Okay. I move to adopt resolution number 21-3511, appointing Martin Toomey as a regular member with a term ending June 30th of 2023, and Kevin Casey as a regular member with a term ending June 30th, 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Lane and a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. And congratulations, Mr. Toomey and Mr. Casey. And thank you for applying to volunteer for Lake Havasu City. The next item is 8.3 is adopt resolution number 213512, appointing members to the Lake Havasu City Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, the city received 6 applications requesting consideration for appointment as regular members and 1 application requesting consideration as a student member to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. These appointments are necessary to fill the vacancies of 3 regular members and 1 student member position. The applications were provided to you in the packet. There are 5 applications for the regular member in your packet, and you received an additional application today by email, and it's also in the handouts that were provided to you, as well as the student member. They were for Sherry Butler, Ashley Pasquale, Natalie Strader, Kyler Cox, Kevin Casey, and Mark Zeef.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Ms. Butler, would you like to come to the podium and introduce yourself and tell us what you hope to accomplish on the board? Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Hi. I didn't exactly come prepared to talk to you about what I hope to accomplish. Excuse my voice. We have an allergy problem. I just wanted to tell you that I wanted to volunteer for this particular committee or this board, because I love parks and I love recreation. I love this community, and I started here like many people from California, coming to visit. Eventually, in '91, I came to live full-time and work. So I got an early out from my job with AT&T in Pleasanton, and I came here and opened business telephone systems and sales for AT&T, and that's what started Butler Communications. After 20 years of successful business, I sold that. But I was able to network within this community. I know lots of you sitting here and many that have gone before you. So my situation is that I'm retired now, totally. And so it's my way of giving back to this community. I have served previously on the Chamber Board, Hospice of Havasu Board, Lake Havasu City Rotary Club for many years. And now I would like to serve on this board. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Do any members of the council have any questions for Ms. Butler? No? Excellent. All right, Ms. Pasquale? Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and Council. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ashley Pasquale. I was actually born and raised here in Lake Havasu City, moved away for a little bit to go to college and gain other life experiences, and have been back ever since to raise my sons here in this beautiful city. I grew up in Parks and Rec in our after-school programs and our summer camps, and I enjoy everything that this city has to offer through our Parks and Recreation activities, and I hope that through the last handful of years serving on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board that I've offered the voice of a mother with 2 sons and an active community member, and I hope to continue serving. So thanks for your consideration.
Excellent, thank you. Do any members of the council have any questions for Ms. Pasquale? No, excellent, thank you. The next applicant is Ms. Strader, who is our student member, but is unable to make it this evening because she is out of town. And then Mr. Cox. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, thank you. Honorable Mayor, Council, City staff, thank you tonight for having me and allowing me time to express my interest in this board. I want to keep it brief. I know you guys got a long night tonight. So I just want to start off with a little bit about myself. Again, my name's Kyler Cox. I'm 30 years old. I was born and raised here in Lake Havasu and I'm a current resident, and I love every second of it. I'm married to my high school sweetheart who also went to high school here, and I have two boys, 5 and 6, that both attend elementary here and again are just the light of my life for sure. So I fortunately have the pleasure of being a coach here in town. I coach 11 T-ballers along with a second team with 11 6 and 7-year-olds, part of the AA division of Lake Havasu Little League. And again, it's a great honor for sure. My boys are also part of the Lake Havasu Chiefs football program here in town. And again, just an awesome program. Through my employment and my personal experiences, I'm heavily involved with community events and activities that happen here in Lake Havasu. So with that being said, I just want to express my interest in this board. I will tell you that your current board and also Parks and Recs Director, Mike Keene, are doing a phenomenal job. As a frequent user of city services and city parks, again, killer job. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. So again, kind of my goal as being part of this board is to bring kind of the everyday person, the everyday parent's insight to the board. Again, with my involvement, my current involvement as far as, like I said, my employment and my personal life, along with my experiences and just my overall lifestyle, I believe I can bring some insight to the board and eventually to city staff and city council. So again, thank you. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you. Do any members of the council have any questions for Mr. Cox? All right, great. Thank you. And then Mr. Casey, or if you have anything else you'd like to say, but
Well, since you guys have nominated me to the appointment committee, adjustments committee board, then I would back out of being part of Park and Rec. I think it'd be a little bit more on my agenda. But I'll let you know that as soon as my retirement comes full time, I would run for the City Planning and Zoning Commission. I think that would be a really good spot for me in the future.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Casey. So you want to withdraw at this point from consideration for Parks and Rec Advisory?
Yes, I don't think I can do both. That's what my application had or.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
The next applicant is Mr. Zeef, and he is out of town. He did, the city clerk included the communication about the reason why he could not be here this evening in your packet. And then Mr. Ross is the application that we received this afternoon. Is Mr. Ross in the audience this evening? All right, that concludes our applicants for Parks and Rec Advisory. Are there any members or any questions or comments from members of the council before we open the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And we did not receive any written comment on this item. Bring it back to council for comments, questions, or a possible motion.
Mayor,
Yeah, Vice Mayor Koch.
I'll go ahead and start with a motion.
Okay.
Again, thank you to everybody who applied. We don't very often get this many applications, so it's wonderful to see so many people wanting to step up and be involved. And just as Councilman Lane said, if you don't get selected tonight, please continue to apply because we can always use really great volunteers, which Lake Havasu City is known for. So with that being said, I will make my motion. I move to adopt resolution number 20-3512, appointing Sherry Butler, Ashley Pasquale, Kyler Cox as regular members with terms ending June 30th, 2024, and Natalie Strader as a student member to Lake Havasu City Parks and Rec Advisory Board with a term ending June 30th, 2022.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Koch and a second from Councilmember Lynn, who's also the Parks and Rec Advisory Liaison for the council. Is there any further questions or comments from members of the council? All right, we are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. And congratulations, Ms. Butler, Ms. Pasquale, and Mr. Cox. Thank you for volunteering, and thank you to all the applicants on Parks and Rec Advisory. Moving on to item 8.4 is adopt resolution number 21-3513, appointing regular members to the Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, the city received 8 applications requesting consideration for appointment to the Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission. These appointments are needed to fill the upcoming vacancies of 3 regular member positions. The applications were provided to you in the packet. They're Martin Toomey, Paul Lair, Larry Heller, Luke Still, Jim Harris, Gabrielle Medley-Harry, Robert Zeiss, and David Diaz.
Thank you. All right, and we'll start with Mr. Toomey, which I do not believe is here this evening. Mr. Lair. Good evening, welcome.
Oh, good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Paul Lair. My wife and I own Lair Architecture, and I've been practicing architecture for 27 years, and we love Havasu. This will be our 3rd time actually moving to Havasu, but we've never really left in our heart. This has always been our home. And I've had the honor to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission twice before, once in the 90s and once in the 2000s. Somehow I missed, I guess, a decade. But anyway, it's a new decade, and so I guess it's fitting to apply. And I'm grateful to be here and looking at how I can help serve this community progress further. And I think having an architect on the commission is kind of a bonus. I think it helps sort of balance out different interests that might be on the commission. And thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Do any members of the council have any questions for Mr. Lair? Excellent, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Heller. Good evening, welcome.
Council members. My name is Larry Heller, and I've been blessed to live in Lake Havasu for 4 years now. First discovered Havasu over 30 years ago. I used to raise sea-doos, and I fell in love with it when I saw it then, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm a semi-retired real estate broker, California real estate broker, and I've had the opportunity to do developing, all types of building rehabs, worked with various members of the city planning in both Ventura County and Los Angeles County. So I've worked also with fire department and police. I have extensive knowledge in what it takes to manage properties, look at sites. I've been on neighborhood councils and had my 2 cents put in with health departments, the full gamut, basically. And my goal would be to ensure the ongoing beauty and smart planning in this town. So I appreciate your consideration.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Heller. Are there any questions from any members of the council? All right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next applicant is Mr. Still, which I do not believe is with us this evening. Mr. Harris, which is unable to make it this evening. And then Miss Medley-Harry. Hi, good evening, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Gabrielle Medley-Harry. I have been in Lake Havasu for 3 years now. I've had the good fortune to retire in 2018 from a general contractor. I was director of sustainable construction. And so I've worked with a lot of planning and zoning boards, actually all over the country. And in doing so, I find that it is very interesting and challenging for communities. So having moved here and want to be part of the community, want to serve the local government in any way I can. I've served on a number of boards previously, and currently I am on the National Small Business Association General Counsel Board. I'm also serving as chairwoman for the Elks Lodge 2399, which is here in Havasu, in addition to some other things that I do on the side, being retired. but it's a pleasure to be able to offer my time and services to the community. So thank you for any consideration.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any questions of any members of the council? Well, thank you so much for applying.
Thank you.
The next applicant is Mr. Zeiss. Thank you. Good evening and welcome. Sorry about that.
Thank you. That's no problem. Nice to be here tonight. We moved here about 1.5 years ago, just as COVID hit. And so I'm glad to see that's behind us. I see so much growth going on here in town right now, residential and businesses. I think we need to, have good planning so that we don't overextend, certain sections of town where they, overlap too close together, commercial versus residential. I'd like to, offer some help to the council and see if I can, be of service to you.
Yeah, great. Are there any questions from any members of the council for Mr. Zeiss? Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your application. And then Mr. Diaz. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, David Diaz. Visited Havasu starting in the mid-'70s. Purchased our first home here about 6 years ago, and we moved here full time about 18 months ago. And I'm fully retired. That's a blessing. And I'm really involved in the community. Know many of you here sitting up here, and just like to be involved with also the future growth of the city, make sure it's done properly and give a different perspective. But I have 40 years of business experience, the last 20 years with a very large company that was in the hospitality business. And I've seen many a construction site from hotels and restaurants from the ground up. And also we've restored numerous historic properties, my wife and I, when we were living in California. So smart planning and to bring that insight to the council and the city staff. David Diaz.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Diaz? All right. Excellent. Thank you for your application. All right. We'll bring it back to council before we open the public hearing. Are there any initial questions, comments, or thoughts from members of the council? Councilmember Campbell?
Motion?
Oh, let me open the public hearing.
Oh,
and we'll
sorry.
Bring it back.
I always
Yes.
jump that.
Yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And we did not receive any written comments on this item. Bring it back to council for discussion or a possible motion.
Mayor, motion?
Yes.
I move to adopt resolution number 213513, appointing Jim Harris, Gabrielle Medley Harry, and David Diaz as regular members to Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commissions with terms ending June 30th, 2024.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
And we have a second. So we have a motion from Councilmember Campbell and a second from Councilmember Lane. Is there any further discussion? All right, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Great, thank you. And congratulations to Mr. Harris, Ms. Medley Harry, and Mr. Diaz. And thank you to all the applicants for Planning and Zoning Commission. Item 8.4 is adopt resolution number 21-3514, appointing a member to the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System Local Police and Fire Boards. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, the city received one application requesting consideration for appointment to the Public Safety Personnel System Local Police and Fire Boards. This appointment is necessary to fill the upcoming vacancy of an appointed citizen member position. Mr. Larry Lavoie's application was provided to you in the packet, and he is here today.
Excellent. And Mr. Is it Lavoie?
It's Mr. Lavogue.
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 Excellent.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you very much. Good evening to you. My wife and I live here in Lake Havasu for the past 3 years. I have been very fortunate enough to have a 38-year career in public safety. The last 25 years, I've worked for the San Bernardino County Fire Department. I retired as a battalion chief and was lucky enough to work in every battalion in the county, including the Colorado River Battalion right across the river. So with that, I am now newly retired, and I understand the retirement system, and I really look forward to trying to help in any way possible. So with your consideration, I thank you for the time.
Excellent.
All right.
Are there any questions, any members of the council for Mr. LeVogue? Excellent. Thank you for your application. All right. Any comments before we open the public hearing? All right. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and we did not receive any written comments. I'll bring it back to council for a discussion or possible motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Lane.
I move to adopt resolution 21-3514 appointing Larry LeVogue to the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System, local police and fire boards with a term to expire June 30th, 2025.
I second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Lane and a second from Councilmember Campbell. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Great, thank you. And congratulations, Mr. LeVogue. Before we move on to item 8.6, just the amount of talent we have in this room that is interested in making Lake Havasu City better is amazing. And we really thank all of you for your willingness and eagerness to help support Lake Havasu City and all of our great causes, and strongly encourage you to continue to stay involved and apply for future positions. But again, thank you so much for honoring us with your skills and abilities to be part of our great community. We appreciate it. Item 8.6 is the Truth and Taxation hearing and public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2021-22 property tax levy. Good evening, Ms. Olson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Yes, this item is to conduct the Truth and Taxation hearing on the proposed 21-22 fiscal year property tax levy. So that's our primary property tax levy that we're required to have this hearing for. It doesn't necessarily include the districts, the special districts. So I just wanted to make that clear now so that you can see in the presentation that we're speaking of the general fund primary property tax. So the hope is that after this presentation, we would be able to solicit public testimony and get some input from the public on their thoughts on the city tax. For FY 21-22, the city tax rate is not proposed to change. It will remain at 0.6718 per $100 of assessed value. The property taxes that are collected by the city go into the general fund, which funds services such as police, fire, and parks and recreation. Of a citizens' total property tax bill, only about 6.7 cents of every dollar paid by a Lake Havasu City property owner actually goes to the city. The remainder goes to the school district, the county, the community college, and various taxing districts. And you can see the information here as far as the rate remaining at 0.6718 per $100 of AV, the assessed value total, and the total levy amount. So the levy amount with assessed valuation being higher this fiscal year or for FY22 than it was for FY21, then the actual amount of property taxes we collect, the levy would be higher, and therefore that triggers the requirement for this Truth and Taxation hearing. And just as a kind of a metric, the additional annual tax on a home with AV of $100,000 would be $3.15. It's an annual number. So citizens can get an idea of what the impact would be on their property tax bill by applying that formula. The one for every 100,000, it'd be $3.15 for AV. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions and let you take over for the hearing.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Ms. Olson. Yes, so of the increase that we'll receive because of the increase in assessed value of about $260,000 or so, about $70,000 of that is on new construction. That's construction that's been improved year over year. that we would now collect for being an approved property. So again, this is the 5th straight year that we are not increasing taxes on the property, or taxes at all, but this is specific to property taxes. But again, just because the assessed value, there's additional revenues coming in, so we need to make sure that we have this public hearing to engage that citizen input. Are there any questions or comments from members of the council before we open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Yeah, please just make your way. You have to make your way to the podium real quick and get on the microphone so those at home can see our full conversation.
If you would all speak
state your
a little
name.
clearer and louder.
Okay.
Some of us have hearing issues.
Sure.
So, and your voice is very soft. So, but just a little more.
More volumes coming your way.
Clearer. I appreciate it.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're currently in the Truth in Taxation hearing for our next fiscal year, proposing not to increase the tax rate, but the levy will increase the tax collections to Lake Havasu City to $259,751. Those funds are general fund dollars for police, fire, parks, and the like in Lake Havasu City. About $70,000 of that is from new construction from last year, and then the rest is the increase from the tax levy. We still are in our public discussion. Would anyone else like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the in-person public hearing, and we did not receive any written comment on this item. Bring it back to council for questions, comments, or a possible motion.
Mayor, a motion.
Yes, Councilmember Campbell.
I move to approve the levy of the proposed fiscal year 2021 through 2022 property tax and to assess the levy at the July 13, 2021 City Council meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Campbell and a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any further discussion? All right, we are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. All right, item 8.7 is to adjourn to a special meeting. You have joined us on a night when we're doing our final budget adoption, which allows us, it won't change anything except we're going to stay in the same spot and go into a special meeting and come out of a special meeting. So I do need a motion to move to a special meeting. Vice Mayor Koch?
Move to adjourn to a special meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Vice Mayor Koch and a second from Councilmember Moses to adjourn to a special meeting. Just vote for it. Okay, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. So welcome to our special meeting. And I'm moving on to item 8.8 is adopt resolution number 21-3516, adopting the fiscal year 2021-22 final budget. Ms. Olson.
Thank you, Mayor. We are nearing the end of the budget process for fiscal year 22. And as we've shown at each of the meetings that we have held publicly for this process, we are now at the adoption of the final budget. And we just concluded the property tax hearing. And so the only thing remaining is the July 13th adoption of the property tax levy. The tentative budget was published in the newspaper as required by law. Again, a reminder, the council may change or reduce the amount of the final budget, but we cannot increase the amount of the final budget. And no changes have been made to the budget since that tentative budget adoption. And the total budget remains at a little over $195 million. Again, that is a maximum amount that we set so that should we receive any revenues that we are not anticipating, such as grants or special funds of some sort. If we don't include it in the total revenues, then it cannot be spent should we receive it. So this number is not likely what we will actually spend, but it will allow for us to spend any additional monies that we receive. So just a recap, based upon the hearing, the July 13th meeting will include the adoption of the tax levy rates. At that time, we will review the city property tax rate that we just covered, where we leave the rate the same. The irrigation and drainage district, which is also the water fund, has an assessment as well. And this will be the final year for the IDD tax. This will not be carried forward after FY22. The improvement district number 2 is the London Bridge Plaza. We're proposing that that rate remain the same as it was for FY21 at 0.7370 per $100 of AV, generating about $15,000 in revenue. And the London Bridge Plaza includes maintenance and operation of the parking lot for the lighting, the electric lights, the water service, and the landscaping for beautification of that plaza. So the London Bridge Plaza is down there, kind of that area where the swap meet occurs, if people are familiar with that. And then improvement district number 4, we're proposing that levy or that rate remain the same as well at 0.504 per $100 of AV, and it will generate a little over $62,000 to help pay for all of those costs just referenced. And with that, we'll answer any questions.
Excellent. So Ms. Olson was able to give 4 minutes summary of about a year-long process. So the budget process, city staff led with by Mr. Knutson and Ms. Olson and their teams have worked on this budget process for about 10 months. They brought it to council for the first time to get direction and input from council starting in late January, and we've had several public hearings from this process. So the great highlights about this budget is, again, the property tax rate remains flat and the same for the 5th straight year. There's no debt financing, no tax increases, and it also allows us to be able to invest in some key infrastructure for our city. So certain personnel positions that will help allow for city services to be quick and easy and efficient for our citizens and our citizens that we serve, as well as investing in certain infrastructure items that we need, such as fire trucks and cars and those types of things to allow us to provide those services. Again, we're able to do all of these things without any debt financing or increase of any taxes. And our 5-year forecast that Ms. Olson presented to us in May it looks fantastic. We at one time had a structural deficit, which now indicates that we do not have that structural deficit because of our robust economy that we're experiencing in the sales tax collection. So although the $195 million spending gap, as Ms. Olson explained, in municipal budgeting, if we were to get a grant opportunity, which we've applied for several of them, and it was not included in this budget plan, we would not be able to spend it. So although this budget has a spending limit of $195 million, we anticipate to be where we have been historically in that $150 million range or so. So, congratulations to Ms. Olson and your team and all of the work that you've done to present this budget for us. It's been very clear and concise throughout the entire process, not only to the council, but of course to our citizens as well. And I really appreciate that. So thank you. Are there any questions, comments, or thoughts of members of the council before we open up the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we did not receive any written comments on this item. Bring it back to council for comments, questions, or a motion. Councilmember Lane?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. I'll try to speak into the microphone so make sure everybody hears. First off, I just wanted the comments is thank you to our city manager, our entire city staff for the work that they do on this budget. This is next week they get to start on next year's budget. So it's an ongoing process. But also thank you to the entire community of Lake Havasu. We don't have a structural deficit any longer, and people make this town a very welcoming town. We hear all the time they've never seen a town that's so open, so caring, so giving, so patriotic. And it's because of the citizens we have in this town. And that has helped reduce that structural deficit and bring additional income without having to raise any taxes, borrow any money, and have a balanced budget. So thank you to the staff and to the city as a whole.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from members of the council?
Then I will make a motion.
Please do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to adopt resolution number 21-3516, adopting the fiscal year 2021-22 budget in the amount of $195,729,113.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Lane and a second from Vice Mayor Koch. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Ms. Olson. All right, we're not as special anymore. So item 8.9 is reconvened back to our regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion
Yes.
to reconvene to our regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Koch and a second from Councilmember Moses to reconvene to our regular meeting. We are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Excellent. Welcome back to our regular meeting. Item 8.10 is approved services agreement with Haven Family Resource Center, Inc. for victim services for fiscal years 21-22 and 22-23. Chief Doyle.
Mayor, Council, before you use a service contract with Haven Family Resource Center, it's a 2-year contract to run through June 30th of 2023. A little bit of history on the Haven Family Resource Center. We've been partnering with them for 15 years for their services. Part of what services that we contract with them for are 24/7 services, which include providing a victim service specialist, forensic interviewers, which are specially trained interviewers that will deal with sexual assault victims, domestic violence, child crimes. They also provide us SANE nurses, which are sexual assault nurse examiners, which is a very specialized field. They also provide us a 24-hour hotline. They function as a children's advocacy center. And more recently, they took on the role of providing victim advocacy for us, which is per contract required to respond within 30 minutes to any scene to provide advocacy services to a victim. That is something that they took on when the demise of Interagency, which at the time was providing us the victim advocacy, and Haven stepped up and provided that service for us. This contract is for $90,000. It is a $6,000 increase over the previous contract. Looking at the services that we are being provided, we do believe that to be a fair amount, especially considering taking on the victim advocacy and the requirement to have a 30-minute response. The $90,000 is included in the budget that you just approved.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief Doyle. Are there any questions of the chief from any members of the council? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we have not received any written comment on this item. We'll bring it back to council for any discussion, comments, questions. I will echo what the chief said. Haven has been a tremendous partner, providing very valuable services in a very troubling time for those victims, and we appreciate their work.
Mayor?
Councilmember Moses?
Yeah, I'll motion.
Okay.
I move to approve the services agreement with Haven Family Resource Center, Inc. for victim services for fiscal years 2021 through 22, 2022 through 23, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses and a second from Councilmember Campbell. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8.11 is approved cooperative purchase of 3 Lone Star Van ProMasters from Creative Bus Sales utilizing Arizona State contract. Mr. Cypress.
I'm back again. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm here this evening to provide you a brief overview of requested purchase of 3 new 2021 Dodge ProMaster vehicles. These vehicles are ADA accessible vehicles for the flex service that we're going to be starting soon. These vehicles are purpose-built to provide accessible transportation for paratransit and mobility. They will also take the place of our previous Havasu Mobility as we merge them together with this complementary paratransit piece. This ProMaster vehicles, they have 2 wheelchair positions and can hold 6 passengers at the same time too. So they're going to be very flexible vehicles that we can use to support through our other transit pieces that we have as well. This van has a low floor design and it has a ramp. There's no lifts, so we're getting completely away from hydraulic lifts. And it's because of the low floor and the ramp, it's easy for boarding and deboarding for the people. Both the wheelchair, walkers, canes. So there's a lot of room for them in the front of the van to turn around and get positioned. Funding for these vehicles will be provided through the FTA 5307 apportionment. So this is our federal funding that we receive annually. The cost of the 3 ProMasters is $234,987. This is with a local share of $41,468.29 for all 3. So the city will be reimbursed for $193,518 for these. So it's gonna, for these vehicles that are about $78,000 a piece, it's gonna cost the city $41,000 for all 3. This flex service will also support both bridge and direct services as needed to ensure the individuals seeking accessible public transportation have an option. So what we've done here with our implementation plan is we want to have a public transit service that has layers so that it can cover whatever we need to cover at the same time. So rather than have to wait for a plan to change or to update, we'll have the 3 layers in place that if somebody's in our direct vehicle and they're requesting a wheelchair, it will automatically pull that up and we'll have one of the flex vehicles go out there and pick that up. So any questions?
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Cypress. Are there any questions or comments from members of the council? Councilmember Lane?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you, Patrick. You've done a lot of hard work on this, and these vans are really going to help the people that are the most vulnerable, those that have mobility issues and can't get around. And they can't call a regular car service because of their mobility issues and the special equipment they need. So as part of our overall transit system, I just wanted to say thank you. And from somebody that has a family member with mobility issues, this is a big step forward for our city to help those people. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so for those watching today, we're getting ready to launch our new transit system. And so that's what this is anticipation of. The budget we just adopted has the plan to move forward with the new transit. The great news is that the transit system, what we've been paying for mobility all of these years, which is our current quasi-transit system that it allows us to get residents to medical offices and grocery shopping, has served well, but not allowed our citizens to get around. We'll have no additional cost outside of the general fund. So all of these $5307 and these federal dollars will pay for these transit services that Patrick and his team have designed through many, many months of public input and our partners at the Metropolitan Planning Organization and their transit study to put this together. So we're excited to be able to launch this transit system in phases over the coming months and fiscal years to get this fully implemented. And again, with no additional cost to local taxpayer dollars. So again, as Councilmember Lane said, great work on this front.
Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the City Council on this matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And we did not receive any written comment on this item. I'll bring it back to council for discussion, comments, or possible motion.
Mayor?
Yeah,
I'll
Councilmember
motion.
Moses, thank you.
I move to approve the cooperative purchase of 3 Lone Star Van ProMasters from the Creative Bus utilizing the city's cooperative purchase agreement number 500170, Arizona State Contracts CTR 054848 in the amount of $234,987. Authorize the city manager to sign the cooperative purchase agreement and authorize the city staff to exercise the option to annually renew the cooperative purchase agreement through April 30th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses and a second from Councilmember Lane. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cypress. All right, item 8.12 has been asked to be tabled by city staff. They'll bring it back to us at a future meeting. And we'll move on to item 8.13, which is award the bid for the bulk supply of water and wastewater chemicals to Univar Solutions USA, Inc. for calcium hypochlorite and to Hills Brothers Chemical Company for sodium hydroxide 50%, caustic 50% summer blend, sodium hydroxide 25%, caustic 25% winter blend, and sodium hypochlorite 12.5% liquid bleach. It comes out much different when I read it without reading it out loud. So, Mr. Frosley?
That was almost correct.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Pardon the interruption, but I do have another introduction for you. I would like you all to meet Thilac Fernando. Thilac is our wastewater superintendent. Some of you may recognize him as he is a long-term employee. He's been with us for 27 years now. The first 26, he served as the laboratory manager at the Mulberry Treatment Plant. This past year, he has served as our wastewater superintendent, and he's really done a tremendous job getting that whole area organized and operating at a much higher level. Thilac also holds a PhD in chemistry, so you can be assured that he really knows his stuff. And without further ado, I think I'll just turn it over to Thilac.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and the council members. I'm here to request the council to award the bid for bulk supply of water and wastewater chemicals to Univar Solutions for AccuTabs. I'm not going to read all the names since Mayor already said that.
I would have saved it for you had I known. Yeah.
And to Hill Brothers Caustic and Liquid Bleach. This is an annual contract. So this year we try to combine water and wastewater division needs together, hoping to get a better price. And AccuTabs we use for treating potable water to boost the chlorine residual. So in the distribution lines we have required chlorine residual. And the caustic and liquid bleach are used in our odor control systems at the Mulberry Wastewater Treatment Plant and North Regional Treatment Plant. Those are very essential component of our wastewater treatment, especially at Mulberry, which is in a residential area. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any questions, members of the council? So I had a question. I was on Speak Out this morning, and they asked about, they didn't realize there was a winter blend and a summer blend. I said I would ask tonight. So what's the difference between the two different blends?
Okay. Their concentration is different because in the winter, sodium hydroxide crystallizes. So as a result of that, it's very hard to deliver from the container or the tank to our system. So it just plugs the line and nothing comes up. So as a result of that, you have to reduce the concentration.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, great answer. So hopefully the listener is also listening to this meeting and now has that answer. Any other questions or comments from members of the council before we open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this matter? All All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and we did not receive any written comment on this item. Bring it back to council for any discussion or possible motion.
I'll make the motion. I don't have the PhD, but I bet I can. It's been written out for me. All right. I move to award the bid for bulk supply of water and wastewater chemicals to Univar Solutions USA, Inc. for calcium hypochlorite and to Hills Brothers Chemical Company for sodium hydroxide 50%, caustic 50% summer blend, sodium hydroxide 25%, caustic 25% winter blend, and sodium hypochlorite 12.5% liquid bleach. Issue a 1-year purchase order requirements contract and authorize city staff to exercise the option to renew annually for a maximum of 4 additional 12-month terms.
Second.
How'd I do?
Very good. Next time I will make it easier.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Lane and a second from Vice Mayor Koch. Is there any further discussion? We are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Excellent, thank you. All right, item 9 is current events. Are there any council committee reports? No? All right, moving on to item 10, our future meetings. Our Tuesday, July 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. will be a regular meeting, and we'll also do the property tax levy adoption that Ms. Olson reviewed earlier. And then on Tuesday, July 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m., we'll have a regular meeting. And then on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021 at 6 p.m., we'll have a regular meeting. Item 11, are there any future discussion items?
I motion for future.
You have a future discussion item?
I do.
Okay, what
Let's
is
see
that?
how I do, okay? I'm going to give it my best shot.
Okay, let's see. What is it?
I'm motioning. Is it a motion or just you go into a discussion?
Just talk about what you want and then we'll see
Okay.
if you get a second on it and then we'll move from there.
All righty. I would like to discuss draining pools into city streets and replacing it with possibly recycling water through RO systems. There's people in town that do this, and we have come to find out that it actually cleans your water of bacteria and many other things, eliminates the chemicals from going down our streets into our drain water, and also saves asphalt from being destroyed from water. So I would like to have those discussions with city staff and move forward. And what else do I do from here?
I think you're good. Let's see
Okay.
if someone else would second that item.
I'll second that for Councilmember Campbell.
All right, so we do have a motion and second. City staff, do you have enough information on if we'd bring that forward in a work session or as a potential item or anything you need clarification on?
No, we'll take direction on that too. It sounds like, yeah, we got it. We'll put some stuff together and we'll start a conversation with council.
Okay, excellent. All right, are there any other future discussion items? All right, item 12, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Lane and a second from Vice Mayor Koch. We are adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Be kind.